7 alert. This is not a test. Please stand by.
It's a time-tested tale. A young team coming of age.
Jokic on the attack, powering down. He put it in the chamber.
What Nikola Jokic is doing in his playoff debut has not happened very often in the history of this game.
Looking to restore the Nuggets' luster.
Nuggets haven't won a series in 10 years.
Challenged by a master strategist.
It's the playoffs. Nobody's going to come out flat.
Leading battle-tested veterans well-versed in the art of Game 7.
You can lean on experience, but we got to come ready. Everything is against us.
This climactic clash plays out a mile high.
We're ready for a Game 7 as we head to Denver.
Lifting tensions even higher.
Pressure is on them.
Wait, there's no pressure on the Spurs?
Isn't there pressure on both sides in a game?
Home court advantage.
It doesn't matter. If they lose, their season's over. It's pressure on both teams.
Oh.
Murray with the slam. Playoff intensity ratcheting up.
For one, tonight will be the conclusion of their story.
Nobody wanted this thing to end.
For the other, their hero's quest continues.
Game 7, how much do you have to say?
Outstanding job by our buddy Kyle Wells as he produced that, look ahead.
That was really
To
good.
Game 7, and you can see the Spurs are 4-6, the Nuggets 1-2. They've played one Game 7 at home. That was in 1978. They beat the Bucks, and David Thompson had himself a 37-point game in that one.
Very simple formula tonight, Ernie.
For the Nuggets. So let's get to your formula after we hear from DeMar DeRozan talking about playing in Game 7.
First Game 7 was against, I think, Brooklyn, against nothing but veterans. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson. It was probably one of the most intense, series I ever played in. Everybody know KG, how crazy he is. So that whole energy and that whole atmosphere for my first go-round was definitely one of the greatest learning experiences. For me, just that toughness is understanding how hard it is to win that last game. Man, go out there and play. Don't think too much like it's a Game 7, but play like we played last game. Play like you want to continue to keep this thing going.
Game 7, you guys have all been there before. In fact, we got the numbers in your career in playing in Game 7s. Shaq 3-1, Chuck 2-3, Kenny 3-1, and you see the respective numbers.
Check, you see 17 rebounds, right?
Yeah, but I also see 2 and 3. Me and Kenny, you see 3 and 1.
Well, you had Kobe
That's the only
Bryant.
number that matters.
You had the Kobe Bryant carrying your ass.
I got a question for
Before I got the MVPs, you better Google me, son.
Google.
I got a question for you. Even if you've been around the league a long time and been in a lot of playoff games, if you have not been in a Game 7, for instance, LaMarcus Aldridge, this will be his 72nd playoff game in his career. Never played a Game 7. How different is it going to be for LaMarcus Aldridge?
I think it's going to be very different at first. It's all about, for me, it was all about that first shot. If I took the first shot and it goes in, I'm going to have a great day. If I missed a couple, now I'm starting to worry a little bit. I go away from it. Hopefully the guys can carry me, and then I would come back to it. But I don't see him as a guy that gets nervous. He's going to play his game. But Chuck made this point the other day. He needs to get 20, 25. When you're on the road, you need to probably add 5 points to that. Him and DeMar, one of those guys need to get in the high 30s.
Well, to me, this is a very simple formula. It's about role players against stars. The Nuggets role players got to play. I think they're playing at home. They should play well. So if they play well, I think Denver's going to win the game personally. But Jokic's going to do his thing. But the role players got to do something. They haven't done anything really this series, but they've got to play. For the Spurs, it's different. It's about DeMar and LaMarcus. Your stars on the road, they got to play. Those role players, they might have a good game, they might not. But they will follow their stars. So to me, it's very simple. If Denver's going to win this game, their role players got to help Jokic and Murray out. But for the Spurs, those guys got to get 30 and 30.
A lot of the narrative, Chuck and Kenny and Shaq, heading into Game 7 was the fact that Greg Popovich concentrated on not giving open looks to the three-point shooters for Denver in Game 6. Let Jokic do his thing. He had a huge game, but limited the open looks that Denver had.
That's the point I just made. It's going to come down to those role players for Denver. They can't do what they did, but they will play better at home, Ernie, because, number one, Denver plays at a much faster tempo at home. But role players play better at home. Like I said, they get positive reinforcement. The crowd is clapping every time. People not saying mean, nasty things to them. but like I say, but that's on the other end. Those guys, you see how those role players on the Spurs, they play better at home. But now those guys are nervous. This is when your stars, because they guys jump on my back, and then they gonna come.
Well, I think that, that's a school of thought for sure. I've seen and been part of different kind of things where there was what Charles is saying as role players. Everyone has a role, obviously. Somebody scores, somebody's assists more, somebody's a star of the team. There's different roles. But the teams that I look at Denver as is similar to what we had in Houston. The guy who is considered a role player, you think, oh, man, if he gets 15, 16, wow, that could help. No, this role player might get 30. Vernon Maxwell will get 30. Sam Cassell might get 30. Jamal Murray might get 30. Beasley might come off the bench and get 25. Those are different type of guys for Denver. They aren't your traditional, oh, get me 12 and I'll be happy. So, case in example, I broke the NBA record for three-pointers against the Orlando Magic. Different type of guys that's going to give you bigger numbers. That's what Denver has. Denver has guys that can really impact the game in a Game 7 much differently than a guy saying, oh, go get me 12 and don't be nervous.
Denver, 34-7 at home. The Spurs, this is their 22nd straight year in the playoffs. In the 21-year run, they've been knocked out 5 times in the first round, never in consecutive years, trying to avoid that. And you think about that 21 years, 5 first-round knockouts, 5 championships.
We the North, baby. We the North.